John Kelly will do a fantastic job. General Kelly has been a star, done an incredible job thus far, respected by everybody, a great, great American. Reince Priebus, a good man. Thank you very much.
A wild week in Washington ending with a West Wing shakeup announced late this afternoon. The president, moments ago, speaking about his new chief of staff, Homeland Security Secretary, retired General John Kelly. A week that started with the White House press secretary resigning ends with a new White House chief of staff. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. In a tweet just before 5 o'clock Eastern Time, President Trump announced that General Kelly will be his new chief of staff. He starts Monday morning. At first, there was no mention of what happened to his current chief of staff, Reince Priebus, who has taken a beating this week, courtesy of incoming communications director Anthony Scaramucci. The tweet came as the president, Priebus, and Scaramucci arrived back in Washington after a trip to Long Island on Air Force One. Just a short time ago, the president thanked Priebus for his service and dedication. This was the shortest tenure, 189 days, of any chief of staff not serving in an interim role at the White House. Correspondent Kevin Cork with all the breaking news of a dramatically changing White House. Kevin.
Quite a day here at the White House. Brett, you're right. Good afternoon. Let me just share part of a statement we've just received from Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the press secretary. In part, it reads that the president thanks Reince Priebus for his service. They accomplished a lot together. He was loyal in his dedication to the president. The president thanks him and his family for his great service to the country. As you point out, Reince Priebus, the odd man out in a very interesting tug of war. It brought on, at least in part, by Anthony Scaramucci's elevation to White House Communications Director, the two men operating on parallel tracks. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked if Scaramucci's elevation had anything to do with this. They are closing ranks here at the White House. They're saying all the right things about Reince Priebus, who is no longer the chief of staff here. They do bring in General John Kelly, as you pointed out, who most recently has been over at the Department of Homeland Security. He has done an amazing job over there, statistically speaking. The president, who has made a habit, Brett, of surrounding himself with generals, brings in a man who obviously comes in with a great deal of Washington experience. And as we get more information, we will certainly pass along that to you. As you point out, he'll be on the job Monday morning. Brett?
And Kevin, about what the White House is saying, are they characterizing how Reince left? There was talk that he resigned on Thursday, but he was on this trip. And there is now talk from senior officials that the president was looking at General Kelly for this position for some time.
Yeah, and that is in fact, Brett, what we understand is the White House continues to try to soft pedal this. What they're trying to do, you can tell, and just listening to Sarah Huckabee Sanders moments ago, they're trying to be very careful to not step on a person they feel like has done a good job, as well of a job as he certainly could do, despite the fact that he didn't do a good enough job to keep his job. We're speaking of Reince Priebus, who did, if you recall, run the RNC. He rescued it from the depths of debt despair, powering it to prosperity, and of course leading the president and the Trump train, as it was known during the campaign, to victory in November. But he leaves as someone who was clearly not in the favor of the president. He was criticized routinely by the president privately, and it has obviously spilled out now as he is no longer the lead man, or the point man here at the White House, Brett.